Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Volvo race. Welcome to the V&A Waterfront. Welcome to our import race.
Well, with 1 minute to go, I've got to say we've been really blessed with some of the most amazing conditions in Alicante, in Lisbon, and now here in Cape Town. Remember, folks, this is the import race. Matt Frey decided they're not actually going to lay the pin. Look at that, with only 15 seconds to go. Matt Frey chiming out way to the left of screen. 3, 2, 1. And that's the gun. A beautiful start from Kafari and turn the tide on plastic.
Fantastic conditions out here. I couldn't find a better bay for sailing and for this import race. Yeah, I think Dong Fong is setting up nicely to get down to that left-hand side of the course to get more breeze.
Very close racing. Kai Scallywag a little late to pull up their A3. Oh, they're under pressure from the Dong Fong race team, who are all roped up, charging into the bottom, doing 20 knots. Vestas 11th Hour Racing leading in the advantage position, and that's why there's a duck and dip from Dong Fong race team. Oh, nice and close. You want to keep it as close as you can without touching us in the battle for first place here in this import race. Great conditions, 20 knots of breeze and a relatively flat sea. Oh, sea. Oh, this is going to be tight. And Dong Fong have done a great job. It's going to be a duck from Vestas 11th Hour Racing. A lead change. Take the favoured side and squeeze around and make life difficult for Vestas 11th Hour Racing. Pulling their A3s and off they go downwind for a fast ride towards the bottom half. Fong race team on the way downwind, currently leading. They've been putting Vestas 11th Hour Racing under a lot of pressure, and finally just squeezed around them at the top marks. That is a problem on board Vestas 11th Hour Racing. A bad furl. Nick Bice down on the water. Tell us. Gosh, it's terrible. It looks like your headphones after they've been through the laundry. Take you Matt Frey charging hard down on Vestas 11th Hour Racing. Down towards the finish, the Dong Fong race team put on a masterclass of sailing here in Cape Town and take the win. Matt Frey have crawled their way all the way through the fleet and finish with a fantastic second place here in Cape Town. Let's take a look at the scores now for today's import race. Dong Fong race team take it with a very substantial lead of nearly 2.5 minutes over Matt Frey, who came from what was a pretty terrible start all the way back to second place.
But yeah, we've had a fantastic trip. It was obviously very slow. We lost a lot of time in the early stages and slowly speeding up. But yeah, no, I love it. So I haven't done Transat for a while, focusing on family, and it's really great to be back, and particularly great to be first. Much more fun than being last.
and a lot of your crew are young people that, as you say, that you want to bring them on?
Yeah. Well, what happened is that I come from Finland, which is a small country, and we're in a deep freeze for about half a year, so you don't do that much sailing. For me to have had the career I had, one of the thoughts that hit me in the 1991 sort of thing was to try to pass it on. And I started something called the Big Boat Youth Academy, and we've had over 1,000 youngsters in that program, including Phil Barnard here, who is one of the Caribbean boys. I call him a Caribbean son, and he's come on board again. So the whole concept of my sailing is to pass it on at the moment and give young kids a chance. It's an amazing sport, lots of depth, lots of opportunities, but unfortunately big boat opportunities are very scarce because most of the boats are privately owned and the kids don't get a chance. So that's what I'm about, is to coached these guys. I steered when it was difficult, but most of the time the guys have been steering and we've been coaching them. And they did really well. Oh, it's amazing. I mean, just think about it. It's 8 nationalities on one boat. Everybody focused on the same finishing line. I think United Nations just take some lessons from this bunch. You know, we work as a team, we help each other, we're there for each other when you get stuff. And it was tough a few times. I've done that before.
Welcome.
Yeah, good. Thank you. No, it's awesome. Yeah. Good luck to you. Yeah, we're tight on. Beautiful island from the outside.
Great green and all. A lot of rain. Great green one now.
Very good. Well,
Congratulations. Welcome to Grenada.
Well done. Perfect. Now you can have a bit. Yeah, that was so exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful. We sailed down the other side of the island.
Yes, isn't it beautiful? Oh, we love it.
Well, it's that time of the year again. Once again, we're here at the North Sails Loft in Sydney. We're with the CEO, Michael Coxon. And Cocko, it looks like it's going to be a big year this year for the Hobart race.
Yeah, it certainly is. It was interesting because the year I thought started off a little bit slow, and by halfway through the year I thought, we're in a little bit of perhaps a little bit of a downturn, but certainly in the last few months the yachting world has really lifted its game down the southern hemisphere, and been some big moves in boats being sold and boats being set up and ready to go to Hobart.
Well, let's go from the top now, the big ones. Now, there's what, 5 100-footers?
Well, there's, of course, there's always Wild Oats, so she's gearing up for I think it's about her 10th or 11th Hobart. And then we've got Blackjack, which is the old Alfa Romeo that I used to sail with Neville Crichton on for many, many years. And she went to Europe and was called Esmeralda. And she's come out, and Mark Bradford from North Sails Brisbane is in charge of her, and Peter Harburg is a wonderful owner. He's had a great series of Blackjacks, and they're really geared up well, and they had a good battle with Oates in Hamilton Island. And then Loyal, the actual boat that won last year and broke the record, got beautiful conditions for that boat last year. She's just changed hands. And a gentleman named Christian Beck has bought her, and I'll be going to Hobart with Albie Pratt on that boat, and it's now going to be called InfoTrack, and in fact it's having its official launching tonight down at Birkenhead. And who have we forgotten there? So we've got those
we've only
3.
forgotten Comanche.
Oh, sorry, of course, Comanche. How could I forget that? That was, I had to put that out of my mind. Neville Crichton has chartered Comanche from Jim Clark, and he's taken on it as a package where he's taken on the existing crew, so it's going to be a very formidable crew, and Neville's going to step on board as the skipper, so she'll be really the boat to watch. That's going to be interesting, yeah.
Now, getting back to your skipper, Christian, give us a background to his background.
Oh, I only met Christian in September. He's basically from small boat sailing. When I say that, he's got a 38-footer, sails on Sydney Harbour, up Parramatta River, more into twilight racing, and he has decided he would like to get into a bigger boat, and so he when he was looking at the boat, he approached me because I've been involved with Loyal for many, many years, and it was previously known as Speedboat, and he asked if I would come and join him, and I had a commitment for this Hobart to Maserati, the Volvo 70 with Jim Cooney, but Jim's had an operation on his knee and is, I don't think, up to doing the Hobart race this year. So I've taken with Jim's permission, some of the crew of the Maserati, and we're putting them on Loyal, and we're doing the race with Christian and 8 of his friends. So I believe they're not actually experienced with going offshore sailing yet, but so we've got a lot to do. We've only got 3 weeks really to go to the start of the race, and we haven't actually commissioned the boat yet. We're going to go hopefully for our first sail tomorrow. We're putting a new mainsail on tomorrow, and so we'll be doing some pretty intensive training over the next couple of weeks to see if we can pull the crew together and get it safe and seaman-like.
Mate, good luck.
It's not a small boat to put through its paces, but the main thing is we've got some very solid people, very capable offshore sailors, so we'll be in good shape.
Well, good luck for that one. Now, it's interesting what's happening with the Oatley family.
Yeah, it's very pleased that recently they decided to put Wild Oats 10, which is the Rycle 66, has just entered the race. That's going to be skippered by Troy Tyndall, who's Sandy Oatley's son-in-law, and he's put a formidable crew of, you know, the up-and-coming sailors. And when I say up-and-coming, let's say under 40s, and he's got a really young crew on board of top sailors, and I think includes guys like Tom Slingsby, I think, maybe on board. I've heard that, and Sevi Jarvan. There's a whole bunch of really top-line sailors.
Oh, good. And what about Wild Oats 11?
Wild Oats 11 is putting the old crew together. I was speaking to Ian Murray a couple of days ago about it. They're trying to get Juan Villas, who's normally their navigator. He's doing the Volvo race, so they're hoping that he may be able to finish the next leg and slip up in time for the Hobart race, but I think that's wishful thinking. But we'll wait and see how that goes. But no, they're putting a very serious effort in again this year. They've used the Southport race as their feeder, and then Hamilton Island Race Week, and they're going to be right into it. And I think the Oatley family are very great supporters of yachting. To have the two yachts out there on the starting line, I think it's going to be a great sight. And
Blackjack, what's your odds on that?
Interesting. From what I've observed, the Maxis are really quite interesting because they're all optimised in different wind ranges at the moment and conditions. So I think that if you're at a tough race on the nose, you'll find that that'll play into the hands of, say, Infotrack, the old Loyal. I think that if you've got fresh reaching and running, you'll find that that's where Comanche will come into her own. I think Oates is now optimised to being more of an all-rounder. She used to be very good in the light, and she's traded some of the light to improve her more power sailing. And then you've got Blackjack, who's very formidable in light airs. I'd say under 10-12 knots. She's a boat that is really to be watched, and has always been a very good light air boat. It's in its original configuration. When it was launched with a tungsten bulb, and which is a big advantage because it weighs a lot more than lead for the given volume, and it's grandfathered. And if they change the configuration, they'll lose the grandfathering, so it stayed in the same configuration. So while the other boats have gone more powerful optimisation, she is still set up, because originally Neville Crichton was very keen on sailing in the Mediterranean, and the Med's generally light airs, and the boat was optimised for that. So, and then the Hobart's a really interesting race, because even a fresh race, you remember the 8, 10, 12 hours of the fresh conditions, but you'll always go through transitions, and you get the light transitions. And in those big boats, you've got to bear in mind that the speed differences in fresh airs is minimal. So, but the speed differences in light airs can be huge. So you get a 2, 3, 4 hours of a park up in light airs, and you could actually see big changes in the positionings of the boats.
Welcome to the final event of the 2017 RC44 Championship Tour in the Celero Marina's stylish new facility in Lanzarote. Historically, Celero Marinas have been a regular port of call for the RC44s, having hosted 4 regattas and 3 World Championships. This event is again of huge importance for all the teams.
In reality, this is a very important event, like the World was, because unfortunately you cannot discard the Worlds and the last event of the season.
A lot faster! You're walking!
On day 1, the boats raced closely with no standout crew. On the big Atlantic waves, after 3 races, just 6 points separated the leaders, Chris Bake's Aqua, from the 8th placed team. On the second day, Peninsula Petroleum had the bit between her teeth for both the races. They closed the day leading the fleet despite having a change of helm. Alfredo Morales stood in for John Basadone, who arrived in Lanzarote just in time to compete in and win race 2. Vladimir Prosikin's Team Nika, with the America's Cup legend Dean Barker calling the tactics, recovered some lost ground and climbed 1 place to 2nd, whilst Chris Bake's Aqua dropped from top spot to 3rd.
We have a quite clear idea what we want to do during today, and not always happen like that. And I think that the owners today did an amazing job driving the boat very, very nicely, and it's easy for me to call tactics with this kind of approach on the boat.
For the next 2 days, light, shifty wind conditions made fair racing impossible, so the event closed with unchanged scores. Peninsula Petroleum and John Basadone claimed their first victory of the year.
We're very happy with obviously the result, but also the way that we've been sailing. And, yeah, I mean, the good thing is we get another chance to come back here in a couple of months. So can't wait for the next race already.
The greatest battle, and one that has continued throughout the year, is the fight for the 2017 championship title. Katusha, Team CREF, Team Nika and Bronny Nosek's sailing team have fought hard all season, with all of them still in contention heading into this final event. Second place in Lanzarote wasn't enough for Team Nika to recover her 4-point deficit on Team CREF, so it was Igor Lars' team who claimed the annual RC44 championship title for a 2nd consecutive year.
I must say I'm really happy. We had 5 great regattas. It paid out that we were consistent at each one, and that's then the final result. Last year we had a really great year. This year was also extremely well. So we hope that we will somehow continue our series.
Considered as one of the strategically toughest regattas, the RC44 Championship Tour will once again return in 2018 with some more action and some even higher level of competition.
Are you kidding?
Experiences, to have experience is very important.
You know, we have a team full of very strong drivers.
We have fantastic driver on board this time, like Stu is really one on Daryl, a very, very good driver.
It's not necessarily who gets the boat going the fastest, it's who can you know, keep it going at a high speed for a long time.
Good helmsman will have a really high average speed, and a bad helmsman will have a massively high peak speed and also massively low speed.
Nothing like boat speed to get you where you're going quicker.
The top guys, you can turn the instruments off and they're not even looking at them. They just can feel it. You can feel the way what's going on under your feet. You know what the heel of the boat is.
You're surfing waves with a 20 meters boat and 13 tons, so it's amazing. It's incredible. The feeling is awesome.
It's almost like not steering a yacht in the end. It's almost like a cross with surfing. It's like a roller coaster, if you like. You end up in these big, long, high-speed runs, and there's nothing like it.
The boat that sails the fastest will most likely, win this leg.
Start of a leg is always a big event, but when you're starting a leg into the Southern Ocean, it just has a little bit more atmosphere about it.
So we might see the worst conditions we're going to see in the whole race in a couple of days. 50, 60 knots in the worst spots and 10 metres waves forecast in the centre of it. Just got to, keep everybody in one piece and push as hard as we can and see how we go.
I think we did a really great job during the transitions, and yeah, really nice. I think we put in practice all the theory. Main on, we are close to the first, so it's perfect. Now just sending it.
That's it. Crazy, I'm already dead in it. We didn't start yet the race. Nice start and all good now.